This isn't about champs, not legacy, not records. This is about aura, the kind of fighter who made other pros contract. These are the monsters, the freaks, the boogeymen, the ones who love the violence of it all. Here are the top 10 scariest fighters in UFC history. Alright, let's kick off the list with a man who blurred the line between athlete and apex predator. Brock Lesnar walked out of pro wrestling and into the UFC like it was just another arena to wreck people in. No warm-up fights, no slow climb, just straight into the deep end. After only 3 fights in the UFC, he would win the UFC heavyweight title. How? He was 280 pounds of fast-twitch terror, NCAA Division I wrestler, freak genetics, a right hand like a shovel, and when he got on top of you, it was like being buried alive. Oh, and steroids? Steroids definitely helped. He was raw, sure, but every opponent knew this. If Brock took you down, it wasn't gonna be technical. It was gonna be brutal. For a man who had no striking background, he for sure knew how to hit like a semi-truck. He made trained killers look small. We know what you might be thinking, why isn't he more down the list? Well, we only saw him fight a few fights before switching over again to the WWE. Who knows what kind of unparalleled smashing we would have seen had he stayed in the UFC. Up next, we have a leg-locking lunatic who fought like a surgeon with zero ethics. You might wonder who this guy is. He hasn't won any belts, any big fights, didn't really make a name for himself. Jose Malpaharez wasn't scary because he was a great fighter, or knockouts, or size. He was scary because of what he didn't do. He didn't respect the tap. Pajarez was built like a tree stump with pit bull arms, and his specialty, ripping knees and ankles apart like they were Legos. His weapon of choice, the heel hook, and when he got it, it was already too late. The ref would jump in, the opponent would scream, and Pajarez, he'd hold on and twist even more. He wanted to end his opponent's career. Derval, Macenzio, Fitch, he wrecked knees like it was a religion. Fighting Pajarez was career-threatening. Even elite grapplers didn't want to roll with him. The dude was a scary piece of shit. Let's move on to another force of nature on our list. A deep-sea monster, a mythical fighter, sea-level Cain Velasquez was breaking heavyweights left and right, in a bloody style. For a division known for short bursts and big bombs, Cain fought like a lightweight trapped in a heavyweight body. Constant pressure, suffocating pace, and power in both hands. Remember UFC 121? He walked through Brock Lesnar like he wasn't even there. Lesnar charged in like a bull. Cain sidestepped, dropped bombs, and dismantled him in under 4 minutes. But his real horror show? Junior Dos Santos. Their second and third fights? Pure punishment. Over 10 combined rounds, Cain mauled one of the division's best strikers. Clinch, takedown, elbows, rinse, repeat. By the end of it, JDS looked like he'd been through a war zone. He wasn't flashy, he didn't talk trash, he just outworked everyone, outpaced everyone, outlasted everyone. And then, the real-world nightmare. Some numbskull thought it was a good idea to mess with his family. Cain wasn't having it one bit. He went straight for murder. Cain tried to kill the dude. What he did was illegal. But what drove him? Understandable. There's a difference between trying to win and trying to hurt. Roundtree fights like you insulted his mother, stole his rent money, and keyed his car. When he's locked in, it's terrifying. Look at what he did to Gokhan Saki, a world-class kickboxer and feared striker. Khalil put him to sleep with one clean left hand. One shot, no sweat. He wasn't all that scary early in his career, but once he returned from Thailand from a Muay Thai camp, boy oh boy did he become surgical and fierce. He will try to end your career that night, either by snapping your knee with a sidekick, or once he has you on the ground, he will unload his hammer fist into your temple like there's no tomorrow. Matt the Immortal Brown. Maybe not the fighter with the best record, but surely one with the most violent one. If there ever was a violence weight division, him and Justin Gaethje would be competing for the top spot. His nickname was the Immortal, but when he stepped into the cage, he made you question yours. You know what defined Matt Brown? Elbows. Elbows with bad intentions. Sure, Matt had a problem with grappling, but if you were dumb enough to trade strikes with him, you were bound to go home with a few stitches. Eric Silva found that out soon. Looked slick early, then Brown dragged him into the deep end and beat him until he was begging for mercy. Jake Ellenberger, one elbow to the liver, done. Diego Sanchez sent into retirement with a walk-off elbow from hell. His fighting style was raw and relentless. Clinched you, smashed you, broke you, zero finesse, all violence. He wasn't a champ, didn't need to be. He built his legacy with blood. All but 2 of his 24 fights ended in a stoppage, most of them via KO or TKO.
And he got rattled. Big left hook. Big left hook to Cope. Cope's in trouble.
Before the UFC, Kimbo Slice was a myth, street fight legend, one-punch knockouts in backyards, on concrete, surrounded by dudes yelling, "He's dead." He looked invincible. Power, presence, pure intimidation, all he needed was a reason. And when he had one, it was violence on demand. Cold, fast, final. You didn't just lose to Kimbo, you got posturized. Men twice his size folded under that right hand like they'd been hit with a truck. He made fear look effortless. But when he hit the UFC, reality hit back. Cardio issues, grappling holes, the mystique faded. Still, the aura never fully left. When Kimbo walked out, people watched. Because even if he lost, he still felt like a man who could knock you out in the parking lot after you talk shit about how he fought. And now, from someone who didn't make many waves in the UFC to someone who was and still is the king, Jon Jones isn't just the greatest fighter of all time, he's the most terrifying kind of great. Calculated, cold, creative, cruel. Most legends have a few clean wins and a couple of wars. Jones, he broke legends, made the once undefeatable champions look like chumps. He tried to snap Glover's elbow clean off. He almost killed DC. Jones head-kicked him into the abyss, then chased him down and hammered the back of his skull like he was trying to kill him. When he fought the legendary Dragon, he stood there holding the guillotine until Yoto went limp, then dropped him like trash. Zero emotion, just violence and silence. Elbows, oblique kicks, spinning elbows, eye pokes. Yeah, he bent the rules, and sometimes broke them. But inside the cage, he was a surgeon of pain, and you were for sure exiting the cage damaged. Now let's talk about a fighter even Jon Jones didn't really look forward to facing. The Predator, a natural disaster in human form. The scariest thing about him, you know what's coming, and you still can't stop it. Let's look at the times his violence really came out to play. UFC 218. Overeem ate an uppercut from the abyss. Head snapped like a crash test dummy. Instant meme. Eternal highlight. UFC 249. Rosenstrike slept in 14 seconds. Ngannou blitzed with 4 wild bombs. None technical, all nuclear. Curtis Blades, twice dead. Cain Velasquez, gone in 26 seconds. Stipe, the heavyweight GOAT, flatlined by a left hook, buried by a hammer fist. One mistake and it's lights out, career reset. Even vets looked uneasy, because when the Predator goes on the hunt, it's game over. El Cucuy means the boogeyman, and for a while, nobody embodied that name like Tony Ferguson. Sure, he might have seemed quirky and weird at times, but not the good kind of weird. His opponents thought he was being funny until the cage door shut, and they realized this wasn't weird, this was unhinged. Tony didn't fight clean. He fought like a fever dream, spinning elbows, slicing knees, Darce chokes out of nowhere. He didn't throw combos, he unloaded chapters of violence. Guys like Edson Barboza and Lando Venata came in confident. They left leaking. Pettis brought heat and still got dragged into one of the bloodiest scraps in UFC history. Tony didn't wear you down, he wore you out. He turned cuts into rivers, turned punches into setups for more pain. And the scariest part? He enjoyed it, laughing mid-fight, talking to himself, dodging punches like he was in another dimension, and slicing you up like a butcher. For years, El Cucuy was destroying the best of the best, in the worst way possible. Yeah, we know, by the time Wanderlei hit the UFC, he was on the back end. Slower, weathered, battle-worn. But this isn't just about UFC wins. It's about fear, presence, terror. And you don't talk scary without talking about the axe murderer. In his prime, Wanderlei Silva was pure savagery. No setup, no feeling out, just forward pressure, clinch, and knees from hell. Head stomps, soccer kicks, brutal flurries against the cage. He knew that there was no love in the fight game, but damn it, he really fought like he hated his opponents. In pride, he ran through legends. Rampage, twice. Sakuraba, 3 times. Yoshida, Arona, Mesger, all added to the body count. And even in the UFC, the stand fight was a barroom brawl in a hurricane. The Bisping fight, Wanderlei would have taken his head off if he had not gone for takedown after takedown, and even then, he tried to end him. So yeah, the axe murderer had to be number 1, because when it comes to fear, chaos, and pure violence, Wanderlei was the perfect storm. We have one more fighter to cover, but as a bonus, because we're cheating here a bit. This fighter only fought 1 fight in the UFC, but he was as scary as it gets. In and out of the octagon. Lee Murray. This dude was a real-life villain. Fast, athletic, good striker. But what made him terrifying wasn't his record, it was his rap sheet. He was the kind of guy who made other fighters nervous outside the cage. Tito Ortiz talked slick outside a London nightclub. Lee Murray slept him cold in the streets surrounded by onlookers. And Tito at the time was in his prime. Not a rumor, not fanfiction, witnessed. But that was just a start. He was a knockout artist through and through. But that was the least bit that made him scary. In 2005, just as his MMA career was heating up, Murray got into an altercation outside a nightclub in London. He was stabbed multiple times, including in the heart. He barely survived, spent time in a medically induced coma. After that, fighting wasn't the same. The UFC was reportedly ready to give him another shot, but visa issues and his health complications shut that door. After his fighting career fizzled, Murray graduated to a full-blown heist movie villain. In 2006, he masterminded the largest cash robbery in British history. Over £50 million stolen. Guns, kidnapping, inside men. He got caught, sentenced to 25 years in a Moroccan prison, and even in there, he was rumored to be untouchable. So there it is, the brawlers, the butchers, the apex predators. In the UFC, being good gets you wins, but being scary, that gets you remembered.